Well, I'd love you more. You'd think we'd had Valentine's Day coming up sometime soon. We do. And somewhere around Valentine's Day, I usually do a talk on love. Rarely does it address the narrow spectrum we're usually celebrating with Valentine's Day. We'll have a little tiny piece of that. Because love is this amazingly vast quality that affects every part of our lives. It's not just romance. That's such a small part of it. This is an energy that, well, it's the greatest power. Well, your greatest power is your ability to connect with everyone and everything. We call that love. The ability to connect. To say, you're a part of me. When we fall in love, we talk about the idea that suddenly that person's, your pain is my pain, your joy is my joy, right? If there's anything less, I'm sorry, you fell in lust. When you fall in love, they become part of you. They're part of me. And that's the key to what love means, to make something part of you. It's your ability to recognize that this is a part of me, whether we're talking about a person, nature, an experience, anything. Today we're going to hit the third quality. If you remember, Jesus put my in front of three qualities. When he said, I want you to be in my. First was peace. I give you my peace. Not as the world gives peace, right? We did that one 3 weeks ago. Did we? No, we did that one last week. Funny how time flies, or doesn't. In either case, we did peace last week. Contentment. Or if you ask Tinker, it was commitment. She came up today and she says, I want to apologize. I introduced at both services as commitment. I actually had it written down that way, and it was contentment. And I said, you know, you delivered it so well, I thought it was part of the joke. And so I just got up and corrected it and saying, oh, she did it again at second service. She's just playing with me. So last week was peace. 3 weeks ago was joy. He says, I give you my peace. I've told you this because I want my joy to be in you and your joy to be full. Sometimes people get into their church and they get into all the rules and regs, and they think you're supposed to suffer to be good. It's supposed to be the opposite. You're supposed to be in Christ's joy. But Christ's joy is a little higher than pure jumping up and down, my dog's bigger than your dog. Christ's joy is a pure joy that flows from within. So these are two higher qualities that were extremely important to following the path. And he follows them up with the third. Well, there is one more, and we're going to do it now. It actually comes second in the row in John. And that's love. If you were to master these three qualities, you'd be further than mastering all the behavior that we think is taught in the Bible. You aren't traveling the path unless you're feeling peace, joy, and love. That's the essence of the path that Jesus laid out. So, let's talk about the big one, love. Abide in my love. Well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We'll hit it with the scriptures. Let's expand this whole idea of what love is. There's an old unity definition. See, what I find interesting, at first I was like, why does unity have 3 or 4 definitions for love? Can't they choose which one they want to stick with? No, the quality is far too large. It needs to be hit from several different angles. And love is the attracting power of the universe, right? It pulls everything together. Love is what ties everything together. We say love is gravity. Well, that's interesting. But I suppose that's the coarsest form of love. But here, I want to hit it with this one. Love is the idea of universal unity. We call that oneness, the idea that there is a unity of everything, that there is a spirit that moves through all of it, that everything belongs to God. It's all God. Universal unity. Oneness. And if you look very deeply at Jesus' message, you will find his entire message is steeped in the consciousness of oneness. That's why you love your enemies. That's why you do things that are counterintuitive to people who are trying to knock the tar out of evil. Because we're not here to knock the tar out of evil. We're here to connect with everything and rise above it. The power of love is not in winning the battle. It's in not having to fight. It's in rising above. It's in transforming the character of what you're facing. And that's the power of loving anyone or anything. When you connect, that connection, that realization of oneness changes everything. How many of you have been around a unity church where you're facing something and you say, so-and-so, I just am having such a hard time with this person, and they walk up to you and they say, well, this is just a part of you that needs to be healed. And usually I'm ready to kick them in the face after that. Now, the problem is it's actually true. But I'm not wanting to hear that truth right then. But it is true. That is your way out. To realize this person is part of me. To connect. Yes, you are allowed to think it needs to be healed. But you need to say it's a part of me that needs to be healed. Held, yeah, we'd rather hell it. In any case, it's a part of me that needs to be healed. Years ago, this is how it works. Far, far away, years ago in a galaxy far away? I don't know how that goes. I'm not quoting it properly. The Star Wars people will kill me. But in any case, a long time ago in another church, I had a woman come to me, and her name was Suzanne. Most of you who've been around a while will remember the story of Suzanne. It's one of my favorites. But she came to me and she said, my mother-in-law, I've never been good enough for my mother-in-law. She has been out to get me for the entire 9 years of our marriage so far. I've tried everything. Said, I've tried being nice to her. I've tried ignoring her. I've tried confronting her. I've tried working with her. Whatever she says, I'll do. Nothing works. She takes every chance to turn the knife in and twist it. I'm not good enough for her son. There's 9 years of this stuff. She says, so I finally decided, is there anything spiritually I can do about this? And I says, oh, there is. You're not going to like it. And she didn't. I said, what's going to happen is, what you can do spiritually is every night in meditation, you're going to bring up the picture of your mother-in-law. And you're going to say, I love you, I bless you, and I behold the Christ in you. She said, I'm not sure I can do that. Actually, first she said, is there anything else I can do? I said, no. And she said, well, I'm not sure I can do that. I'm not sure I can feel that. I said, well, just affirm it to start with. And then eventually move into trying to feel what you're saying. Okay. Several months later, I asked her, how's it going with your mother-in-law? Because she hadn't come in again. And she said, oh, we have the most wonderful relationship. And I said, really? She said, yeah. And then she thought back and realized, she said, yeah, I did what you told me. I'm not sure how long I did it, but I did it for quite a while. I got the feeling she did it about a month or 6 weeks, she said, or something like that. And she said, and I can't say when the change happened exactly, but we get along great now. That is the real power of love. Not beating your mother-in-law into submission, but rather transforming the whole relationship. And it works with people. It works with everything. When you connect, the character of what you have connected with changes. Because prior to that, there was this sense of separation. And we say in Unity, the belief in separation is the source of all evil. The belief that you're different than I am, that's the only way you can treat someone badly. If they're you, you wouldn't do it. So before we reached out and connected, we saw ourselves as in this state of separation. And there is a character of that encounter. And it generally isn't all that good. And then there's the point when you start to believe, I have a lot in common with this person. Okay, that's different. Now you're starting to connect. And once you connect, well, everything changes. People who are coming from opposite sides, if they connect, can actually become coworkers. I mean, I was just reading the night before, I guess it was last night. The two lawmakers that are trying to put together something to keep the government open at this point. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat, one's 78 years old, and the other's 82. And they're both women. And they've been at this a very long time. And they are absolute adversaries. They come from opposite sides of the political spectrum, but they're really good friends. And that's why everybody has hope. These two are heading it up, they say. Okay, just because someone thinks differently than you do, comes from a different spot, does not mean that they aren't part of you. Now, you may look out and say, you're a part of me that needs to be healed. Okay, you're allowed to do that as long as you recognize they're a part of you. Okay? A part of you. Connection. It happens upon a number of different levels. And when we all grew up, we were taught that there were 3 words in Greek for love, right? If you have missed out on this, you're about to get educated. But if you haven't, you're about to get reminded. They were eros, philos, and agape. Okay? We connect on this human lowest level. With eros, there is nothing wrong with eros. It's just very limited. What it amounts to, as you rise through these different ones, they get wider, the spectrum of what they include. And the bottom one is eros. It's physical attraction, that physical sense of oneness. That's the moment when you say, we belong together. Or there's chemistry. We talk about chemistry, and having experienced chemistry, what's interesting is you experience chemistry with the most intriguing people, not necessarily the one you spend your life with. It just happens to be, this is one level upon which you can connect. And the one time I experienced the most chemistry I'd ever experienced in my life, and we weren't together for very long, there was a palpable magnetism between the two bodies. They were just attracted to one another. And that type of oneness is often what we celebrate at Valentine's Day. Go for it. Have a wonderful time. There is nothing wrong with it, but there's more to this picture than that. Particularly for the ones out there saying, I don't have that. Well, hey, you've lost the bottom a little bit. There's a whole lot more to this territory. Second, we move into Philos. That's Philadelphia, right? The city of brotherly love. That's what it's named after. This is connecting by merging consciousness. This is the point at which you say, they see things the way I do, or they feel like I do, or just simply, we've got a lot in common. You know, it's that sharing of consciousness, of ideas, of feelings, of the way we see the world. That's the level upon which this love. If we see the world the same way, you're part of me. You're us. It's us against them, and you're in the us. You know, we're still doing the us against them, which is separation. But at least we're feeling that oneness with some people. Okay? And the third one is feeling that oneness with everyone. It's called agape. It's love of God. It's love of the Spirit that moves through all of life. And so whereas eros was which person is my body attracted to, and we move into philos, and it's, who shares my ideals? Who shares my ideas and my feelings? And then it's agape, and it's who's alive. It's everything, everyone. The Spirit of God moving through it all. Now with agape, it's love of Creator, of Source, the divine Spirit behind everything. It's all God. It's the moment when we finally realize it's all God. I can love it all. And this is now opening your heart to all of life, 24/7. This is what agape in the end is all about. Loving life. For some people, it manifests as a reverence for all life. They look around at everything, and they're not looking at you're good, you're bad, you're good, you're bad. They're looking at you're alive. They're looking at there is God in you. I behold the Christ in you. Notice Suzanne. Her mother-in-law was the epitome of evil. Instead, she's turning around and saying, I behold the Christ in you. I'm seeing that within you that can be loved. And I'm connecting on that level. That changed all the lower levels. Agape. Connecting. We spend so much time building walls around our heart, trying to keep life out where it can't hurt us. And if you do, you've not only kept out the bad, but you kept out the good. Keeps it all out. Okay? And in the end, the real spiritual power within you, that which makes you spiritually powerful to change and improve and uplift your life, is tearing the wall down, getting rid of it. The wall around your heart. Being loving life. Not making life prove itself to you before you're willing to love it. Dishing it out like that in a reward system is a state of separation, and you are on your own. But if you want the power of God to flow through you as you walk through life and accomplish miraculous things through you, then your heart's open. You're in agape. You're loving God and all of God's expressions, all that God moves through. Now, the power of love is this. When you connect, your perception of reality changes. Notice Suzanne had to change her perception of her mother-in-law. She had to say, well, actually, I see that underneath that raving whatever is a child of God. Something wonderful. That changes your perception of reality. And that change creates changes in attitudes that then literally allow things to move in a better direction. And bluntly, once the attitudes change, once you move into this different state, the physical experience of your life actually seem to change. That's the point at which we start calling it miraculous. And that's the power of love. To rise above or transform your challenge rather than wrestle with it and try to win. The power of connection. When you connect with a person, it's going to transform that whole experience. Until then, you were just two people, each duking it out to get what you want. Unfortunately, that's sometimes the description of some people's marriages. Okay? But when they're really a part of you, really a part of you, my joy is your joy. My pain is your pain. You're rooting for each other. Love is not a power struggle. And literally that changes everything, whether it's your closest mate or someone you meet on the street. Love is the attracting power of the universe, and unless you have it engaged, your prayer work is going to really take a while. You want to know that which I'm praying for is already a part of me. As long as it's out there and I don't have it, that's called separation. And the feeling I have inside is called neediness, and we know what that does. You walk into a room of people confident in yourself and happy with everything that's going, everybody wants to play. You say, oh my God, I need to find someone. You walk into the room and you say, you don't have to say it. The moment you walk in, it's radiating from you. I need someone. Ever seen the room empty so quickly? Neediness drives away whatever it is you want. Love is saying it's already a part of me. What you're praying for. If you're praying for healing, you need to know it's already a part of you. It's not over there and you're not trying to coax it to come here. It's already a part of me. You're healing for prosperity. It needs to already be a part of you. You need to love it, include it. This is part of who I am. To he who has, more will be added. To he who has not, even that which he has will be taken away. Ain't fair, but it's the way it is. So love moves you into that I have state of consciousness, which allows it then to start coming to you. Experiences. We look forward, and if you hate them, they rarely turn out nice. If you embrace it and just say, hey, this is part of me, I'm going to love it, I'm going to do it, handle it the best I can, I'm going to fully accept this experience. I'm going to see it surrounded in light and know something good can come out of it. And it's amazing how the character of the experience can change. Nature? Is nature your friend or the thing that's out to make you miserable most of the time? Well, nature's my friend, even though occasionally I have a hard time with the heat or I don't like cold either. But nature is my friend. I had some experiences that proved that, and if you've been around very long, you've heard me read that little passage that my daughter wrote. She wrote one on her dad. When she was in college, they had to write it on a family member, and there's a little section I read in there where she says, and he would take It was a plastic lawn chair, not a metal one. But anyway, he'd take his lawn chair out when a thunderstorm was rolling in and set it up under the tree. She said if you set it up just right, you could get to where not many drops of rain fell on you, but you got to be out there and experience the whole thunderstorm. And she says, when I got afraid, I would look up at my dad and I'd say, and he'd just look down at me and say, don't worry, nature is my friend, you'll be okay. Nature is my friend. Do you know that? Nature is your friend. Nature is my friend when I go to Colorado and I stay on that property that my parents had out there, because I'm the only one out there. And it better be my friend or else I ain't got any. And I have a real relationship with that valley, with that mountain. It's part of me. And it's alive for me. And earth, it ain't a dead rock. We just haven't got a consciousness that stretches quite that far. The earth, the stars, they're all celestial beings. They are all alive. A level of life we're not that familiar with. We don't understand. But you love earth when you realize it's my home. I'm home. I mean anywhere on the earth. I'm home. And you include the earth as part of me. We're getting into agape when we're doing this. And of course, in the end, on the esoteric level, there's an experience, a spiritual energy, goodness, harmony. We need to make that a part of me so that our lives reflect that. And the experience of God, when you connect, when you love God, when you connect, love the whole, the spirit of life that moves through everything. When you connect, you are most powerful to create something good in your life. John 15:10, I said we'd do it. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love. You got to understand, Jesus spoke from a point of view of oneness. He is not saying, if you don't keep my commandments, I won't love you. That is not what Jesus is saying under any conditions. He did not meter out his love and say, I love this person, I don't love that one. I love this one, I don't love that one. No, he's saying, if you keep my commandments, if you do what I said, you will abide in my love. You will be in this state of loving everyone and everything at all times. You'll live there. The same way you're going to live in a state of joy and a state of peace. You'll live in the state of an open heart, loving life. And he clarified it. You don't hate the bad people and love the good ones. In fact, he said you do the opposite. And he opened the line before what I'm going to read. He basically said, some people tell you to hate your enemies and love your friends. I don't. He says, Matthew 5:44 through 46, love your enemies. Bless anyone who curses you. Do good to anyone who hates you, and pray for those who carry you away by force and persecute you. My God, what a list. And why? So that you may become sons of your Father who is in heaven, who causes his sun to shine upon the good and the bad, and who pours down his rain upon the just and the unjust. For if you love only those who love you, what reward will you have? If you love only those who love you, you're still living in a major part of separation. Agape, the Father who loves all creation, who causes his sun to shine upon the good and the bad, his rain to fall upon the just and the unjust. we're not going to determine whether you deserve love or whether anything in this world deserves to be loved. We're going to love. We're going to realize it's all God. There's some good under there somewhere. I behold the Christ in you. There's something underneath there. I'm just not seeing the full picture. There's got to be more, because I'm going to love life. Whether it's moving through the snake or the bunny, I'm going to love life. And in case you think I'm stretching this oneness thing, I'm sorry, it's really very clear. Paul writes in Ephesians 4:6, there is one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in all of us. If you're going to love God, you're going to have to love creation, the whole thing. You know, you can't be that guy that we make the joke about or have for 40 years, the one who said, I love God, it's just people I can't stand. Well, I'm sorry, God's moving through the people too. So, the more you can connect with life, all of it, the more powerful you are to rise above the seeming ugliness and the challenges, and to see beauty and goodness fully expressed in your life. So, how to open your heart and connect more with life. Here we go. Number 1, concentrate on your heart center each day and strive to open your heart and feel more love of life. Okay, make it a point each day to remind yourself you're there to love life, because we tend to forget that. I am here to fulfill my responsibilities. I'm here to do this, I'm here to do that, and I'm going to ignore as much as I can until I get through all of this. And the opposite is actually required of us. Feel more. So we turn to our heart center and remember, okay, I'm going to try to open up. I'm going to try to love a little more of life today. And the next day you say, I'm going to try to love a little more. You probably can't love the whole thing on the first day, but you certainly can keep expanding and loving a little more every single day. Abide in my love. Christ's love does not differentiate. It follows the Father's love, which lets the sunshine fall on everybody. So, the second one is, the second suggestion, love deeply all the people in your life. Sometimes we take people for granted. Every day, remind yourself that the people in your life are important to you, that you love them, that they make your life richer. And here's the deal. Love is something you give. I know. Love is nothing till you give it away. Okay. None of us actually believe that when we start. We know love is something that you get. Somebody loves me. I don't have anyone to love me. And that's actually not the problem. Love isn't what you get, it's what you give. The real joy of loving is in the giving. And once you understand that, nothing can stop you from having your life full of love. Because it isn't dependent on what's out there, what's separate from me. If anything made that clear, it was years and years ago. Okay, get grounded, Bob. Years and years ago when I got divorced. You know, divorce is quite a set of lessons. There is so much to learn. And for me, I didn't want to be divorced. I wasn't ready to have this done. But as I've said a number of times since, the strongest person does what needs to be done. And later I said, well, you were the strongest person. We needed to separate to fulfill what each of us needed to fulfill. We needed to go down this road. But I got to tell you, I didn't take it well. Okay? And so here I am. I'm feeling really lonely. And I thought, what I miss is having that one person that I can love intensely. And then I realized, well, wait a second. I don't have one person to pour everything into, but I have quite a number of friends, and I have acquaintances. Wonder if I could love them as intensely as I loved my wife. And would that fill the gap? And it did. I call it playing hardball at love. Now, here is the way you have to handle it, though. You love intensely, but expression is going to have to take whatever form is appropriate. So a lot of your love is going to be very secret. It's just going to be you loving. And I do not suggest that means that you run up and down the street and love and kiss everybody you bump into. That can get you in huge trouble. And I do not suggest that you walk up to a dear friend and say, I love you so intensely. And they go, okay, glad to hear it. You know, you're placing this horrible burden on them. This isn't about them. It's about what you're giving. And you give it silently and spiritually inside of yourself. And so I learned to love very intensely everybody I bumped into, because that's what kept my heart full, rather than feeling that terrible loneliness. It kept it full. Now I had to learn to be extremely careful, because when your heart's that open, people sometimes misunderstand, and rightfully so. So there were times when I have to drop a veil to protect them. I don't need to protect me. That's why I say hardball at love. I know all I need to do is give love, and I learned to give it to the person on the street that you see for 3 seconds. Love them intensely. Everybody out there is this, well, let's put it this way. I've said it before. Earth is the biggest art museum in the world. Every individual out there has a unique texture to their being that you can feel with your heart. And you can love that intensely, as long as you don't make it so obvious that you lay a burden on the people around you. Not everybody else is at the place you're at. But if you can love everyone in passing, your life is full. To you who has, more will be given. If you're praying for a mate, you need to be loving intensely your friends. Certainly do not march up to them and say, I love you so intensely. Oh my God, they got to run after that, you know. No, just do it inside yourself. Feel the fullness. The other will follow. So, love all the people in your life. Well, Valentine's Day is coming up, so I have to quickly say, if you have Eros in your life right now, hey, enjoy it on Valentine's Day. You know, do the romantic thing. And if you don't, work with agape. Love intensely what life offers. And feel the fulfillment of that. And it is fulfilling if you do it right. Number 3, use compassion to combat negative responses to difficult people. Compassion is a form of love. For me, one of my favorite books, and if you know me, you may say, well, that's a natural, is A Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment. Okay, obviously I'm a lazy man. I like some of the way it puts things in there. And one of the things it says in there is, when a man is being discordant, it is not a personal affront. it is a measure of his pain. Happy people do not go after other people. Unhappy people do that. Okay? And you can always reach out when you feel attacked and feel compassion. Compassion. Yeah, trying to get that tie back over in the middle. I don't want to look lopsided while I say this. Compassion. Compassion. You can always extend compassion, even if you think you're looking at pure evil. It's all God, so underneath that, quote, pure evil, there's got to be something good. So extend compassion. To be that bad, they got to be feeling an awful lot of pain. Number 4, be what you desire in order to attract it into your life. This is where your prayer projects come in and the realization love attracts. As I said earlier, oneness is the power behind prayer. So, if you are praying for healing, you are not asking healing to come into your life. You are realizing it's already a part of me. If you're praying for a mate, you're going to realize that your heart is already full, that you already, and that even a mate is already part of my life. If you are praying for prosperity, you realize as you look at your bank account, which does not seem to physically say this, that I am already one with this. I am. Prosperity is a part of me. It's a part of my consciousness. Whatever it is you're praying for, love, harmony, peace, it's already a part of me. You need to connect. And then it will naturally be drawn into your life. Number 5, love goodness and beauty if you want more goodness and beauty in your life. We spend so much of our time on our pain, our misery, and our difficulties. Look for goodness wherever you go. Look for beauty wherever you go. Realize you and beauty, you and goodness. Yeah, it's part of me. And wherever I go, I draw the beauty out of a situation. I draw the goodness out of it. Make it a part of you. Connect with those qualities. And then a rough one again. Practice finding the beauty in the ugliness that you run into. If it's all God, there's some beauty buried under all this stuff. You can always find the beauty. In The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment, when it's talking about loving the ugly, the harsh, the difficult, it says, what did you think needed to be loved? The fuzzy bunny? Nobody else loves that, so maybe I need to love that, right? Everybody loves the fuzzy bunny. It's the ugly stuff that is the part of you that needs to be healed, that needs to be loved. And number 7, and the last one, you'll be glad to hear that. Embrace agape as you start each day. That is, love the Spirit that's in all of life. Love God. Not something who's watching me, quote, from a distance. I love that song. I hate that idea. Well, I better not hate it too badly. But in any case, the idea is wrong. The idea is separation. God is watching from right there within you, right in your heart. Love the Spirit that's moving through all of life, agape. I love life. I just love life, all of it. And every day I'm going to try to love a little more of it, right? Love God as the source of all life, many channels and one source. Sometimes we think, my job is my channel of prosperity, and if we lose it, we go, I've lost everything. No, God was your source. Your job was your channel. And there's one source, many channels, another channel will arrive. Sometimes we wrap our whole lives up in one person and we say, when this person is gone, I've lost all love. My love is gone. Whether they depart walking away or falling away. The bottom line is, no, that person was the way God loved you. And a new channel will show up. God will love you from so many other directions. So take some moments throughout your day to remember you just love life. No matter how difficult it gets, you just plain love life, and you will function at the top of your game. Because you then are in a state of consciousness through which spirit moves. Spirit moves through oneness. Separation, by its very definition, you're on your own. Spirit moves through stretching out through your love. Let's see. It was peace like a river that flows from your soul into your life like a river. It was joy like a fountain, and that's very descriptive. Joy rises like a fountain through your being when you tune into it. And in that little song, around here we sing it. What do we do? What is it? I forgot the quality. Love, that's right. Thank you. It's love like a mountain. I actually, though I was raised in Union, and we all did that. This massive thing, this huge thing. That's what love is. I actually like the one on the internet that says love like an ocean. It's like an ocean, this vast ocean. And when you release it, it flows and nothing can stop it. He drew a circle that shut me out, but love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. There is nothing that stops it. Not even if your mother-in-law hates you. Can she stop the power that is released by loving her? Nothing can stop it. And every once in a while, we just release a tidal wave by loving everyone and everything. And that wave just picks everything up and moves it around. And that's the power of love. Jesus taught the path of love that he's known for within world mysticism. Jesus is known as the teacher who brought the path of love. And when he said it, they'll know you're my disciples for your love one for another. Okay? He said it clearly. That's my path. And why? Because love, that is connecting on a deep level, is the greatest power that you have at your disposal as a spiritual being. It is a real power. It doesn't serve your personal self, but it does serve your highest good. Does serve your soul. And it is the most powerful spiritual energy you have at your disposal to act on your outer world and on your life. So open your heart and love more. Experience more of life as a part of yourself, and your life will be transformed in remarkable ways. It's amazing what happens when we can do that. Things change. And why? Because love really does make the world go round. Actually, it really does. Let's take a moment to close our eyes. Father, give us the strength to tear down that wall we've built around our hearts and to love more and more of life. to realize I am one with all life. And goodness is drawn to me from every direction. Thank you, God. Amen. The ushers